One thing we all value are the stories that are emerging of ISSA member companies and organizations who are making a real difference to those they serve and to the staff who helps them in that journey. In this episode of Straight Talk, we dive into the mission and impact of ISSA member organization Pride Industries, a social enterprise dedicated to creating job opportunities for people with disabilities. The focus is on how Pride Industries combines business success with social responsibility, the unique challenges and successes in employing people with disabilities, and how the organization partners with businesses and communities to drive meaningful change. So it's my pleasure to welcome Darylyn Pasdell with Pride Industries. Darylyn, hello.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good to meet you here to talk about what you're doing there with Pride Industries. So let's get started. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about Pride Industries. What's
No,
cool?
I love to share this story. I've actually been working with Pride Industries for 28 years, most of my adult career, and our entire mission is to employ people with disabilities. I came to the organization after meeting our previous CEO at actually a chamber mixer. He was a very robust man, and he said, "You need to be here. You need to work for us." And of course, I said no because I was in the semiconductor world and I didn't quite understand. But Jeff, once you get our mission, people seldom leave. Our turnover is pretty low for our leaders. And Pride was actually founded in the basement of a church in a small town of Auburn, California, up in the foothills. A group of parents had kids with disabilities. They aged out of high school, and it was then what? They didn't go to traditional colleges, and they wanted their sons and daughters to have the dignity of a paycheck. So they started Christmas wrapping, and they brought all kinds of Christmas wrapping into the basement of a church. That led to making things that they could sell, and they became pretty good entrepreneurs, and they recognized a paycheck. That led us today to nearly 6 decades of employing people with disabilities. We have about 4,500 employees, 2,000 of whom are people with disabilities.
That is amazing.
It is
Thank you for
amazing.
doing all of that. We're going to dig into how this all works. I can't wait to hear this. But to start, you wrote an article for ISSA recently. It was called Businesses Find Exceptional Cleaning Staff in Employees with Disabilities. You've been doing this a long time, but what inspired that?
So October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and it's a great opportunity for us nationally to get the word out about employing people with disabilities. We look for different avenues to be able to share that story, and this was one place in a written format where we could reach other employers who could understand the successes. It's to share the perspective of employers who have hired people with disabilities and have positive things to say, to sort of ease the fear of other organizations who may be reading your publications and wondering, how am I going to fulfill the need of my empty spots? We tell our story often, written as one format, but it's to help eliminate some of the fears that people have. For example, often people in organizations say, I don't want to hire people with disabilities because it's going to cost me too much in accommodations, when in fact, it rarely costs anything. And I think the average accommodation is about $500 total. We want to share a story, and it prompts us that month is one nationally where we get as much information out as we can.
That all makes sense and good inspiration for sure. Those watching this, other companies, organizations, they need workers. You've created a system that works well for you and helps others. How do you create employment for people with disabilities, and what challenges have you faced and overcome over the years?
Sure. We prove every day that business excellence and positive social impact can go hand in hand. Often people say, well, you really can't do both, can you? But the answer is we can. Pride Industries, we provide three lines of business. We're an employer for Department of Defense agencies through the Ability One and Source America program. That's part of the article, highlighted some of that. And we provide services in 15 states across the country. We also have commercial businesses where we're manufacturers, we're packaging. We have an electronics division in California, and we provide services for commercial employers. employers who are looking for how to fill custodial positions. We go in as a contractor and the work is provided by people with disabilities. You asked about challenges, and I will say the single largest challenge is explaining to employers how to give people the opportunity to be face to face and have a conversation. So often people with disabilities struggle a little bit with their communication, or it's just brand new. They don't have the experience. Each time when we were kids, we went on an interview, we were a little less nervous. And they're starting a little bit from the beginning. So the challenge is just being able to say, no, I have skills. And we find people with disabilities matched to the job with the skills. Our job is to alleviate that challenge by matching them up with the employers.
My next question is my favorite one. I
I
want to hear success stories. In the article, you talked about someone named Beth.
did.
People look at disabilities, some that may impact someone, others may impact where we're like they can't do anything because they of the disabilities. That's not true, is it?
It is not true.
Tell me about that.
I would love to. So Beth Cole Pope works for one of our federal facilities in Little Rock, and she lost her sight as well as does not hear. So she's a deaf person and a blind person, and she's a custodian, and she rocks her custodian position. I've witnessed it, I've been there, I've watched it. No one can say, sure, it's just a story. That's not true. I've observed it. And the way that Beth cleans is an accommodation for how she works. She touches everything. She communicates with an American Sign Language interpreter. Very minimal accommodation cost wise, but she touches every surface she cleans. And so the team there has used her model as a way to train other people. Often when we see things, we may cut corners. Well, that isn't dirty. I don't need to worry about it. Every surface is cleaned, and she's got the biggest smile ever. She joined us at the Capitol honoring National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and she was a phenomenal presenter.
I mean, Darylyn, to be blind and deaf and to be a cleaning professional, those watching would be like, impossible. What do you say
I
to
I
that?
would I know, and I would have said the same thing, Jeff. She absolutely is independent. She has a college degree, so she's educated. She just could not find the person to give her the opportunity to show her skills. It's the perfect example of what I mentioned earlier. We just need to show employers the skills. Don't focus on the disabilities, but focus on the skills.
So you're telling me that anyone with any type of disability, there's a place.
Absolutely.
Okay. Talk about partnerships that you have with Pride Industries, with corporations and government agencies to promote your mission.
Sure. I mentioned earlier that we have three lines of business. The third line is our workforce inclusion, where we match individuals with employers for permanent placement. So if someone wants to be in retail, we'll match them with Target. Target will hire them, and then we continue to support them. Uh, Really, our mission is to educate each employer of the benefits. So our success is built upon really us pounding down doors to educate employers about no, it works. We're in a crisis for frontline employees, and this is the perfect opportunity. We've built supports for people with disabilities as well. So a person with a disability who may have issues with transportation or with living independently, setting an alarm clock, those are all little tiny things that Pride Industries can support.
Thank you. So thinking
Yeah,
about communities, I would imagine that Pride Industries is known for what it does. Word gets out. It's a good story. What impact does this have on communities? Can you talk to that?
I can. Beyond the mission success of developing workplaces for people with disabilities, each community that Pride Industries works in, we get involved. We become involved with the youth in the area, the schools, the other agencies providing services. We work together to support people. And then, of course, providing labor for our neighboring businesses. Um, is all about community.
So I know you're proud of what you do. Pride Industries is doing a great job. Let's talk about measuring success and the impact.
So Jeff, it sounds kind of corny, but we literally measure success one job at a time. Success for our team is when we're able to provide services, manufacture products with a high quality standard. We do that with competitive pricing. And in all of that, we provide an opportunity for a person with a disability to recognize a good job and independence.
So is Pride Industries in a good spot, or are there future plans, maybe expansion?
Always looking at future plans and expansion. We have an extremely robust development team, and they spend a long time out meeting partners, offering services. Again, we're in 15 states, and I didn't mention also Washington, D.C. So we are always out looking for more opportunities. The unemployment rate for people with disabilities in our country is skyrocketing. And so we know there are a lot of people with jobs, and it's our mission to find the opportunities with the employers. We also continually educate employers regarding the benefits. We provide webinars, I mentioned earlier, kind of eliminating the fears of hiring people with disabilities. Uh, and right now, my team is working on the hospitality industry because they are continuing to publish information about needing frontline employees.
I guess now I want to know, how can ISSA help you with your mission?
Well, this is a great beginning. Your members can go in, read the article, listen to what I have to say today, and it's sharing a story. So often in marketing and media, we say, share your story. Well, I really mean this is a story that needs to be shared. And so hearing of how their competitors or even their partners in other states have recognized success in hiring people with disabilities is a great beginning. When it works for one person, you know, the old adage, they'll tell 10 people about when it's wrong, but when it's right and it fulfills a need for employment and it offers independence for someone with a disability, it spreads. And that's really where your members can come in, is just give us a try, reach out to us and contact us. I should mention, as your listeners are kind of engaging, this is a workforce with extreme loyalty. They want to work. They seldom call in sick on a Monday or a Friday. And when they get there, they tend to breed happiness throughout the work team.
That is wanted by everyone, but not as easy to figure out.
We're here to help. It's okay.
Yes, you figured it out, so we need to run with that. Thank you for that. Any final words to share with us?
Of course, I mentioned sharing the story. We encourage listeners to reach out to Pride Industries if they want help, if they want to know how to make it work, if we're in their area and we can help. There's a whole bunch of information on our website, which is very easy, prideindustries.com. And we are actually, I believe, the only in the nation with an I am able hotline. It was set up and designed for people with disabilities looking for work, specifically to help them engage in services or employment, but it can also be used by your members. And it's kind of catchy. It's 844 I am able. The numbers, if you're a numbers person, 844 426 2253.